verse number 13. Garbha sankarshana tamve Prabhu sankarshanam bhuvi Rameti lok ramanat Balabhadram Bala Uchrayat. The son of Rohini will also be celebrated as Sankarshana. It is very opportune that we are discussing the appearance of Lord Balram. Day after tomorrow we have Lord Balram's appearance day. The son of Rohini will also be celebrated as Sankarshana because of being sent from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. He will be called Ram because of his ability to please all the inhabitants of Golok, and he will be known as Balbhadra because of his extensive physical strength. These are some of the reasons why Balram is known as Sankarshan, Balram, or sometimes Ram. In the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. People sometimes object when Ram is accepted as Balram. But although devotees of Lord Ram may object, they should know that there is no difference between Balram and Lord Ram. Here Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam clearly states that Balram is also known as Ram, Rameti. Therefore, it is not artificial for us to speak of Lord Balram as Lord Ram. Jayadev Goswami also speaks of three Rams: Parshuram, Raghupati Ram, and Balram. All of them are Ramas. So what Prabhupada is mentioning here, the word Ram in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra directly refers to Lord Balram, who is the reservoir of all bliss. Why? Because he has the ability to please all the inhabitants of the spiritual world. Sandishta evam Bhāgavata tathayeti omiti tadvacha pratigriha parikramya ramagata tata tathokarat. Thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yogamaya immediately agreed. With the Vedic mantra Om, she confirmed that she would do what she was asked. Thus, having accepted the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, she circumambulated him and started for the place on earth known as Nanda Gokul. There she did everything just as she was being told. After receiving the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yogamaya twice confirmed her acceptance by saying, "Yes, sir, I shall do as you order," and then saying Om. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that on Om signifies Vedic confirmation. Thus, Yogamaya very faithfully received the Lord's order as a Vedic injunction. It is a fact that whatever is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a Vedic injunction, and no one should neglect it. In Vedic injunction, there are no mistakes, illusion, cheating, or imperfection. Unless one understands the authority of the Vedic version, there is no purpose in quoting Shastra. No one should violate the Vedic injunctions. Rather, one should strictly execute the order given in the Vedas, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 16.24. Tasma Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Vyavastito Gnatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum Iharhasi. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulation of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. Garbhe pranite devakya rohinim yoga nidraya aho vishmito garbha iti paura vichukshushu. When the child of Devaki was attracted and transferred into the womb of Rohini by Yogmaya, Devaki seemed to have a miscarriage. Thus all the inhabitants of the palace loudly lamented, "Alas, Devaki has lost her child." All the inhabitants of the palace includes Kamsa. When everyone lamented, Kamsa joined in compassion, thinking that perhaps because of drugs or some external means, Devaki had undergone this abortion. The real story of what happened after Yogmaya attracted the child of Devaki into the womb of Rohini in the 7th month of Rohini's pregnancy is described as follows in the Hari Vamsha. At midnight, while Rohini was deeply sleeping, she experienced as if in a dream that she had undergone a miscarriage. After some time, when she woke, she saw that she had indeed happened, and she saw that this had indeed happened, and she was in great anxiety. But Yogmaya then informed her, "O auspicious lady, your child is now being replaced. I am attracting a child from the womb of Devaki, and therefore your child will be known as Sankarshana." Anyone understood what actually happened? The word Yog Nidra is significant. I don't know how many of you are really following. It says the miscarriage of Rohini. It does not say the miscarriage of Devaki. One moment.
Prabhuji, in the beginning of purport, fourth line, it says that Devaki had undergone this abortion.
Yeah.
This miscarriage and abortion is same.
Yeah. So that is what I'm asking. What is the mystery? What is the mystery?
It's a transfer of unborn child.
No, that is there. But why then there is abortion or miscarriage in Rohini's womb? We read that also.
Yeah, we read that also.
So what is the mystery? How can there be miscarriage and abortion in both cases? Yes, Manoram Prabhu.
Prabhuji, if I heard correctly, I think as per Lord Krishna's instruction, Yogamaya, she first entered to Rohini's womb, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yogamaya, she appeared to Rohini, and then
Don't use your scientific brain. It will fail. It is failed. Anyone else would like to try? What you are saying, Yogmaya first entered into Rohini's womb, then what is the sequence? Come on, speak.
same time, Sankarsana also means Lord Balram also appeared to Mother Devaki. And then there was a transfer by Yogamaya's potency.
Yogmaya is already in Rohini's womb, na, you said. Then where is the question of transfer? Okay, yes, there, Shilbru.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I will try, Prabhuji. In the Rohini Stone.
Now, if you know, please speak. If you don't know, don't speculate.
Yes, I.
It is very clear. If you are hearing properly, then you should be knowing. You will try. Ramya Madhuri, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I don't.
Okay, she's an honest one. And where is Priyanka? It is not as difficult, but just you have to follow the sequence. What was in the beginning narrated? That Kamsa was creating so much of atrocities. So all the Vishnivanshas, Andhaka, Yadavas, they all took shelter elsewhere. Very simple. When Mother Rohini came to Nand Maharaj's house, she was already to become a mother. Okay. What Yog Maya did, she first aborted this child which was there in the womb of Rohini. See, I will read the purport again. At midnight, when Rohini was deeply sleeping, she experienced as if in a dream that she had undergone a miscarriage. After some time, when she woke up, she saw that this indeed happened, and she was in great anxiety. But Yog Maya then informed her, "O auspicious lady, your child is now being replaced. I am attracting a child from the womb of Devaki, therefore your child will be known as Sankarshan." The word Yog Nidra is significant. So, both the mothers were expecting the child. And what Yog Maya did, that she aborted the child in the womb of Rohini, and she attracted the child from Devaki's womb and replaced it in Rohini's womb. Is it clear now? Manoram Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. But then that child was, who was that child, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Who were the first 6 childs in the Devaki's womb? Okay, let me ask you this
They are
question.
sons of Marichis,
What are they known?
Garvasuras.
Very good. They are asuras. One may ask, from the womb from where Lord Krishna is to appear, how can asuras appear? It's possible. All possible. Yeah. So if the 6 asuras can appear in the womb of Devaki, why one cannot appear in the womb of Rohini? Okay, that is not important. That is not important. What is important is that the child was replaced in the womb of Rohini. But it seemed, even in the palace of Kamsa, that Devaki also underwent miscarriage or abortion. That is why Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam. It is completely mystical. The word Yog Nidra is significant when one is spiritually reconnected through self-realization, one regards his material life as having been in a dream. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 2.69, Ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyaham jagrati samyami yasyaham jagrati bhutani sanisha pashyato muni. When one is spiritually reconnected through self-realization, one regards his material life as having been like a dream. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control. When people are sleeping, those who are sincere for self-realization, they should wake up. Brahma Muhurat means before 4. Ideal time is to wake up before 4 and the world is asleep. Ya nisha sarva bhutana tasyaham jagrati sanyam. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control. And a time of awakening for all beings is the night for the introspective self. That means when the time of awakening for the all beings means what? When they become hyperactive. What is the time that people become hyperactive? Midnight. Or when the sun is set. So as soon as the sun is set, the sage also sets. His day is off. But only for those who are awake in self-realization. Those who are sleeping in self-realization, this stage of self-realization is called Yoga Nidra. Lord Vishnu has Yoga Nidra. Here it is said of a sage also in Yoga Nidra. All material activities appear to be dream when one is spiritually awakened. Again, Prabhupada is saying. This Yoga Nidra may be explained to be Yoga Maya. Bhagavan api Vishwatma Bhaktanam Abhayankara Abhisheshashma Bhagena Mananakadundubhi. This is the verse which is being repeated. Bhagavan api Vishwatma. We read this verse. Thus the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the super soul of all living entities and who vanquishes all the fear of his devotees, entered the mind of Vasudeva in full opulence. This is the appearance of Lord Krishna. Where he entered the mind of Vasudeva in full opulence. The word Vishwatma refers to one who is situated in everyone's heart. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridaya deshe arjuna tishtati. Another meaning of Vishwatma is the only lovable object for everyone. Because of forgetfulness of this object, people are suffering in this material world. But if one fortunately revives his old consciousness of loving Krishna and connects with Vishwatma, one becomes perfect. The Lord is described in the 3rd Canto, 3:2-15 as follows. Para Ishvaro Mahat Amsa Yukto Yo Api Jato Bhagavan. Although unborn, the Lord, the master of everything, appears like a born child by entering the mind of a devotee. The Lord is already there within the mind. And consequently, it is not astonishing for him to appear as if born from the devotee's body. The word Avivishesh signifies that the Lord appeared within the mind of Vasudeva. There was no need for a discharge of semen. That is the opinion of Sripad Sridhar Swami and Srila Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur. In the Vaishnav Toshni, Srila Sanatana Goswami says that the consciousness was awakened within the mind of Vasudeva. Srila Veer Raghav Acharya also says that Vasudeva was one of the demigods and that within the mind, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as an awakening of consciousness. Sabhibrat Parusham Dhama Brajamano Yatharavi Durasado Vidurdaso Bhutanam Sambhabhuvaha. While carrying the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the core of his heart, Vasudeva bore the Lord transcendently illuminating effulgence, and thus he became as bright as the sun. He was therefore very difficult to see or approach through sensory perception. Indeed, he was unapproachable and unperceivable, even for such formidable men as Kamsa. And not only for Kamsa, but for all the living entities. So the Lord first entered the mind, and from the mind means there was awakening of consciousness, as Prabhupada is mentioning here. And from the mind, the Lord entered into the core of the heart of Vasudeva. And Vasudeva experienced some very spiritual symptoms, which is being mentioned here. The word Dham is significant. Dham refers to the place where Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. So the heart of Vasudeva became Dham. In the beginning of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1:1:1, it is said, Dhamna Swain Sada Nidasta Puhukum Satyam Param Dhimahi. In the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no influence of material energy. Dhamna Swain Sada Nidasta Puhukum. Any place where the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present by his name, form, qualities, or paraphernalia, immediately becomes a Dham. For example, we speak of Vrindavan Dham, Dwarka Dham, and Mathura Dham, because in these places the name, fame, qualities, and paraphernalia of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are present. Similarly, if one is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to do something, the core of his heart becomes a Dham. And thus, he becomes so extraordinarily powerful that not only his enemies, but also people in general are astonished to observe his activities. Because he is unapproachable, his enemies are simply struck with wonder, as explained here by the word Durdasho Atir Durdashaha. The word Paurusham Dhama has been explained by various acharyas. Sri Veer Raghava Acharya says that these words refer to the effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vijay Dhwaj says that they signify Vishnu Tejas, and Sukhdev says Bhagavat Swarupa. The Vaishnav Toshni says that these words indicate the influence of the Supreme Lord effulgence, and Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur says that they signify the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tato jagan mangalam achyutam sham samahitam surasutena devi dadhara sarvatma lokam atmabhutam kastha yathananda karam manastaha. Thereafter, accompanied by canary expansions, the fully opulent Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all auspicious for the entire universe, was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki. See, what an arrangement. He first enters in the mind of Vasudeva, then he enters into the heart of Vasudeva. And from the heart of Vasudeva, again he is transferred to the mind of Devaki. Prabhupada says we should note carefully that the Lord was transferred to Devaki not by ordinary way of human being, but by Diksha initiation. Thus, the importance of initiation is mentioned here. Unless one is initiated by the right person, who always carries within the heart the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot acquire the power to carry the Supreme Godhead within the core of his own heart. What is this Diksha here? What is being referred to as Diksha? What is Diksha here? What we just read? Yeah, please speak. Speak, our time will be over, otherwise I'll stop at 9. Yes, Ramya Madhuri Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, Diksha initiation also is a type of birth. Sabit.
Okay, very good. So, how it is compared to Diksha or birth? What kind of birth is this?
When spiritual master gives us initiation, actually he gives us another birth, and because he is holding Krishna in his heart, he can transfer us to Godhead. Like that, Vasudev also holding Krishna in his heart, and um,
Yes.
they give birth to Krishna.
Yeah, he transferred Krishna from his own heart to the heart of Devaki. This is what the spiritual master does. Tumhara hriday sada Govinda Vishnu. So the spiritual master is a dham. The one moment, just one moment. मुकेश जी क्लास ले रहा हूँ, थोड़ी देर में कॉल करूंगा आपको. So actually this is what initiation Srila Prabhupada is mentioning. Prabhupada is taking the advantage of this very extraordinary situation, that see how Krishna appears into the mind of Vasudeva, who is pure, and from the mind he transfers into the heart, and then he transfers from the heart of Vasudeva into the mind or the heart. Mind is within the heart. Where is the mind situated? It is within the heart. So he transfers Krishna from his heart to the heart of Devaki. And Prabhupada says this is initiation. That the spiritual master actually transfers Krishna from his heart into the heart of a bona fide disciple. Again, I'll read it. It is indicated here by the word Manastaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead was transferred from the core of Vasudeva's mind or heart, same thing, to the core of heart of Devaki. We should note carefully that the Lord was transferred to Devaki not by ordinary way of human being. That is, what is the ordinary way of human being? Is the, which kind of birth it is? Which birth? When you were getting Diksha, na, Maharaj told about it. Yes, Dayashil Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Guruji, Shokra Janma Prabhu.
Yes, Shokra Janma, seminal birth. Very good. Seminal birth. But this is not seminal birth. Thus, the importance of initiation is mentioned here. Unless one is initiated by the right person, who always carries within the heart of the, within his heart, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot acquire the power to carry Supreme Personality of Godhead within the core of one's heart. The word Achyut Amshaha is used because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Sad Aishwaryapurna, full in the opulence of wealth, strength, fame, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. The Supreme Godhead is never separated from his personal opulence. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Ramadi Murti Shukala Niyamena Tishta. The Lord is always situated with all plenary expansions, such as Ram, Narsingh, and Varha. Therefore, the word Achyute Amsa is specifically used here, signifying that the Lord is always present with his plenary expansion and opulence. There is no need to think of the Lord artificially, as yogis do. Dhyana avastita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yogina. Yogis meditate upon the Supreme Person within the mind. For a devotee, however, the Lord is present, and his presence need only be awakened through initiation by the bona fide spiritual master. The Lord did not need to live within the womb of Devaki, for his presence within the core of our heart was sufficient to carry him. One is here forbidden to think that Krishna was begotten by Vasudeva within the womb of Devaki, and that she carried the child within her womb. When Vasudeva was sustaining the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, he appeared just like the glowing sun, whose shining rays were always unbearable and scorching to the common man. The form of the Lord is situated in the pure, unalloyed heart of Vasudeva, is not different from the original form of Krishna. The appearance of the form of Krishna anywhere and specifically within the heart is called Dham. Dham refers not only to Krishna's form, but also to his name, his qualities, his paraphernalia. Everything becomes manifest simultaneously. Thus, the external form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full potencies was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, exactly as the setting sun rays are transferred to the full moon rising in the east. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, entered the body of Devaki from the body of Vasudeva. He was beyond the conditions of the ordinary living entity. When Krishna is there, it is to be understood that along with him, all his planetary expansions, such as Narayan, and his incarnations, such as Lord Narasimha and Varaha, and that they are not subject to the conditions of material existence. In this way, Devaki becomes the residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without the second, and it is one without the second, and the cause of all creation. Devaki became the residence of the absolute truth. But because she was within the house of Kamsa, she looked just like a suppressed fire or misused education. When fire is covered by the walls of the pot or is kept in a jar, the illuminating rays of the fire cannot be very much appreciated. Similarly, misused knowledge which does not benefit the people in general is not very much appreciated. So Devaki was kept within the prison walls of Kamsa's palace, and no one can see her transcendental beauty, which resulted from her conceiving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Commenting upon this verse, Sri Veer Raghavacharya writes, Vasudeva Devaki Jatharo Hidayor Bhāgavata Sambandha. The Supreme Lord entrance into the womb of Devaki from the heart of Vasudeva was a heart-to-heart relationship. Sa Devaki Sarva Jagan Nivasa Nivasa Bhuta Nitaram Raje Bhojendriya Graha Agni Shikhe Varudha Saraswati Gyan Khaleyata Sati. Devaki then kept within herself the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the foundation of the entire cosmos. But because she was under arrest in the house of Kamsa, she was like the flames of fire covered by the wall of a pot, or persons who has knowledge but cannot distribute it to the world for the benefit of human society. In this verse, the word Gyan Khala is most significant. Knowledge is meant for distribution. Although there is already much scientific knowledge, whenever scientists or philosophers awaken to a particular type of knowledge, they try to distribute it throughout the world. Or otherwise, the knowledge gradually dries up and no one benefits from it. India has the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, but unfortunately, for some reasons or other, this some-like knowledge of the science of God was not distributed throughout the world. Although it is meant for distributing the knowledge, although it is meant for the human society, therefore Krishna himself appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and ordered all India to take up the cause for distributing the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita throughout the entire world. यारे देखे तारे कहा कृष्ण उपदेश हमारे आज्ञा गुरु होया तारो ही देश. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of the Lord Sri Krishna as they are given in the Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. Madhya Leela Chaitanya Charitamrita 7:128. Although India has the sublime knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, Indians have not done their proper duty of distributing it. So Prabhupada is condemning all the Indians, including us. Now, therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement has been set up to distribute this knowledge as and when required. This knowledge as it is without distortion. Although previously there were attempts to distribute this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, these attempts involved distortion and compromise with mundane knowledge. But now the Krishna consciousness movement without mundane compromise is distributing the Bhagavad Gita as it is, and people are receiving and people are deriving the benefit of awakening to Krishna consciousness and becoming devotees of Lord Krishna. Therefore, the proper distribution of knowledge has begun, by which not only will the entire world benefit, but India's glory will be magnified in human society. Kamsa tried to arrest Krishna consciousness within his house, Bhojendra Griha, with the result that Kamsa, with all the opportunities, was later vanquished. Similarly, the real knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita was being choked up by the unscrupulous Indian leaders, with the result that both Indian cultures and knowledge of the Supreme was being lost. Now, however, because Krishna consciousness is spreading, the proper use of Bhagavad Gita is being attempted. Hare Krishna, I'll stop here. We'll try to resume from 20th verse tomorrow. Anything to discuss or share? Please speak. Or any question or clarification required? This is the appearance of Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How he appears. Okay, so I am stopping here. Thank you very much. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.